There's a kind of death no one talks about, not the kind where your heart stops beating, but the kind where your spirit withers, bit by bit, every time you hand your power away. And the tragedy? Most people don't even notice it happening. Power doesn't vanish in an explosion. It bleeds out quietly. Through small habits, you repeat like rituals, never knowing they're building your own cage. Today, I'll show you the 9 habits that destroy your power, not overnight, but over time, like poison in your veins. Let's begin. 1. Needing approval. There was a boy once, brilliant, capable, full of potential, but every time he tried to shine, he'd look sideways to see who was clapping. If they weren't clapping, he dimmed his own light. He grew up seeking permission before living, and every time he asked, he handed over a piece of himself. Needing approval is the leash they tie around your soul. You become an actor in your own life, waiting for the world to yell action when you should be writing the script. Nietzsche said, "The higher we soar, the smaller we appear to those who cannot fly." So if you live for their applause, you'll die when they withhold it. 2. Overexplaining yourself. There's a difference between being honest and being obsessed with proving yourself. When you constantly overexplain what you meant, what you didn't mean, why you did what you did, you aren't seeking clarity. You're begging for approval in disguise. Silence, used wisely, is a declaration of self-trust. A lion does not explain its roar. And the truth is, people who demand constant explanations rarely deserve them. Your boundaries don't require bullet points. Your choices don't require courtroom defense. The moment you start justifying your existence, you've already given your power away. 3. Avoiding conflict. We are taught that good people don't like conflict, but that's a lie made to control you. There's a difference between peace and submission. Avoiding conflict to keep the peace often means you're just swallowing poison so others can feel comfortable. Real power is knowing when to speak up, even if your voice shakes, even if it makes others uncomfortable, even if it costs you something, because anything you tolerate in silence will grow roots in your soul. And one day, you'll wake up resentful, exhausted, with a mouth full of things you should have said years ago. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be one." Sometimes being a good man means being a storm. 4. Pleasing everyone. This is the most addictive habit of all because it feels good until it destroys you. You say yes when you mean no. You smile when you feel like screaming. You try to be everything to everyone and forget how to be anything to yourself. But here's the truth. People-pleasing is self-betrayal in slow motion. You don't set boundaries because you're kind. You avoid them because you're afraid. Afraid of being disliked, afraid of being labeled difficult, afraid of being alone. But chasing approval from everyone will cost you your identity. True power begins the moment you're willing to disappoint the wrong people. Let them think what they want. Let them gossip, roll their eyes, leave the room. That's not rejection. That's refinement. 5. Comparing yourself constantly. It starts subtle. You see someone winning, and instead of feeling inspired, you feel smaller. You scroll through a highlight reel and start questioning your entire life. But here's the truth. You don't envy what they have. You envy how you think it would make you feel. But power isn't found in imitation. It's forged in isolation. Every time you compare your path to someone else's, you take your eyes off your mission. And as Seneca warned, no man was ever wise by chance. You must choose to stay focused. Choose to be loyal to your own lane, because power doesn't belong to the best copy, it belongs to the most authentic original. 6. Justifying your boundaries. Here's a hard truth. If someone needs you to explain your boundaries in order to respect them, they were never going to respect you. You say no, and then spend the next 20 minutes explaining why, softening the blow, making sure no one's feelings get hurt. But in doing so, you teach people that your no is negotiable, that your lines are really just suggestions. Boundaries don't require justification, they require commitment. You're not rude for protecting your peace. You're not too much for wanting space. You are not obligated to make others comfortable at the expense of your own sanity. The wolf does not apologize for the distance between it and the sheep. 7. Talking more than listening. Here's the thing about power. It's quiet, not flashy, not loud, not the first to speak, but the last one still standing when everyone else is out of words. We live in a world where everyone is performing, talking to be heard, yelling to be right, posting to be liked. But power doesn't perform. It observes, and in that silence, it calculates, learns, waits. When you're always talking, you're reacting. When you're listening, you're strategizing. As Lao Tzu once said, "He who knows does not speak. He who speaks does not know." Real power doesn't announce itself. It lets the result speak louder than any words ever could. 8. Avoiding responsibility. This is where most people stay stuck. They blame their past, their parents, their ex, their boss, the algorithm, the government, the stars, and while they wait for the world to change, their life remains frozen in excuses. But the moment you stop blaming and start owning, even the things that weren't your fault, you become a creator, not a victim. Yes, life may not be your fault, but it is still your responsibility. Nietzsche said it best. Freedom is the will to be responsible for ourselves. Responsibility is where your power begins, not in avoiding the fire, but in walking through it and coming out forged. 9. Being addicted to comfort. Let's end with the most dangerous habit of all, comfort. It whispers sweet lies. You've done enough. You're too tired. You deserve a break. Try again tomorrow. But comfort doesn't care about your potential. It only wants you sedated. You were not made for the couch. You were made to climb. Power is born in resistance. It's carved through repetition, discipline, delayed gratification, early mornings, late nights, sweat, failure, and silence. Every time you choose ease over effort, you train yourself to settle. But here's what they don't tell you. Comfort and greatness are enemies, and only one can live inside you. So make your choice, temporary pain or permanent regret. You were never powerless, not really, but you were distracted, conditioned, pulled in 1,000 directions by habits that looked innocent but fed on your strength. Now you see them, now you know. So the question is no longer, where did my power go? The question is, what happens when I take it back? Because when you do, you don't just change your habits, you change your life. If this message hit home, then you're already part of something deeper, something rare. Here at Grandpa Mindset, we don't chase trends. We chase truth, power, perspective. Hit that subscribe button. Join a community that values growth over comfort, discipline over distraction. This is a mindset.